Speaker Boehner had a town hall yesterday. And at the town hall, he actually said that he would like to pass immigration reform. Maybe not the president's plan, but he would like to pass an immigration reform bill this year. But he said too many of his Republican colleagues don't want to do it because either it's a hot political potato or because it's just like too complicated. And he said, this is what he hears from them. This is what he sounds like. By the way, I have to tell you how to do it. We did not make this up, right? This is John Boehner. So here's what these Republicans sound like.
Oh, don't make me do this. Oh, this is too hard.
But you've never seen that side of John Boehner. We hadn't, but... So what is going to happen on immigration? You've been writing about this.
Absolutely. So this isn't new for Speaker Boehner. He's said in the past that he is, pro-immigration reform. And the problem is that members of his Republican caucus, it's too complicated. They want demands that he's never going to be able to pass the House or the Senate. And they don't trust the president to implement it lawfully. With all the changes to Obamacare, they say that they just really don't trust what the president would do. So it's really hard to pass immigration reform when you have such a divided Republican caucus and you have people like Aaron Schock who are saying, I'm for immigration reform. I want to work with Democrats to craft a deal.
Yeah.
And then you have those in the more right of the party who, want big border security measures, which is something shared among all Republicans, but that's all they want. They don't want to do amnesty for illegal or immigrants who are here illegally. They don't want to have the discussion about whether or not to stop deportations for illegal immigrants now to keep families together. And that block of voters or that block of lawmakers in the Republican Party do have a tremendous amount of sway with the speaker. They have enough that they could block what he's doing, and he would then need Democrats. But to bring Democrats on board, he'd really have to loosen up some of those border security measures. So it's just a really tough political issue, which means that it's kind of unlikely to happen before the November elections. They're going to come back. They're going to do some appropriations bills, and that's probably about it for the rest of the year.
All right. Well, first of all, I hear that, but it doesn't seem to me to be that complicated. There is a bill that has passed the Senate. Mm-hmm. If John Boehner were to bring that bill up for a vote in the House, it would pass. So what's the complication here? I mean, just schedule a vote and have a debate. And those who are for it, vote for it, and those who are against it, vote against it. It'll pass. Clearly, most of the votes will be Democratic votes, whatever, but there'll be Republican. There'll be a good number of Republicans who support it.
Yeah. Well, John Boehner sees himself as the leader of the party, and after his, brush with fate last year when you had a number of Tea Party conservatives try to oust him as speaker, he went in and he decided he wanted to work with that caucus a little bit better. So he's, the Hassert rule that, I'm not going to put anything on the floor unless it gets a majority of the majority. That's kind of gone to the wayside a bit, but he still doesn't want to put something up that's going to put his members at harm. And if someone like Aaron Schock does vote for immigration reform, despite the fact that he is very public in his support of it, he's going to face a challenge on the right. And you're going to have people who are kind of on the fence about it, who want to keep their seats, who don't want to have a primary challenge on the right. And that's what he has to kind of guard against. If he puts it on the floor, there's going to be retribution from the far right. And right now with the election coming up, the calculus there probably isn't best for Republicans to vote on this right now. It's a big political issue.
The other issue you mentioned, and I hear it all the time too, is we have to do something about border security. We have to tighten up the border. We have to do the whole thing. I mean, do these people know their facts? I mean, I had dinner last night with the president of the American Federation of Government Employees, J. David Cox, who represents, among their members are the border guards, right? We have more border guards at the border than ever before. There are fewer people coming across than ever before. There are more people being deported than ever before. We've got the border right now about as tight as we can get that it has ever been. I mean, the days when I was living in California where there were thousands of people coming across every day, it was a porous border. It's just not true anymore. But these people talk as if it's 1990 or 1970.
I think it's one of those issues where it's so complex and it's so nuanced, and
people are so ignorant. Maybe
you're saying that one, and there is such an ingrained picture of how immigration in this country works that it's hard, even for very smart people, even for members of Congress, even for people who are really well versed in the issue, to kind of grasp unless you're covering it every single day. And even lawmakers who are interested, they have a lot on their plate, other things to do, to see that the immigration profile has changed and the issue is people who are here now and not necessarily that people are coming over the border in droves anymore.
So I hear, every day it looks like it's dead, and then suddenly there looks like there's a pulse, right? Immigration reform, it keeps going back and forth. But your read right now is ain't going to happen this year.
Absolutely, yeah. Not going to happen definitely before the election. And then depending on what happens in the lame duck, I mean, if they take the Senate, why would they do immigration reform? If Republicans take the Senate, why would they do immigration reform in the lame duck when they have a Republican Senate?
There's not enough time to handle a complex issue like that after the election.
Absolutely. This is a multi-pronged process.